In this video, I'm going to show you how to create this sci-fi animated poster in DaVinci Resolve. So this is going to be a very good tutorial for you to get an idea of how to create these animated posters in DaVinci Resolve using just the Fusion tab. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's go ahead and drag in a Fusion composition. And I'm going to change the clip duration to 10. So from here we have 5 seconds. So let's change this to 10. And let's head over to the Fusion page. Now right here, I'm going to drag in this background and connect this with the media out. Now the color, I'm just going to change it to white, something like this. Don't go all the way white, just keep it somewhere around here. And you can just copy this color code if you want to. All right, so the next thing is while you have this background selected, you can click on this multi-merge. And we're going to use this to add 3 different text. Now, of course, you can add multiple text if you want to, but I'm just going to add 3 for now. And I'm going to show you how to do that using this one text. Just connect this right here with the multi-merge, type in your text. And the font that I'm going to be using is this one called Magneto. And let's go ahead, change the color as well. So let's go somewhere around here, something like this. And let's also change the size to 0.15. So this is how it looks at the moment. Now go over to shading. And from here, we have this select element at 1. So right now, this is the color that you see right here, the color that we just created. But let's click on this 2, which is called the red outline, but we need the black outline. So right now, if you click on enable, this will be set at red by default. But what you can do is you can copy the color that we had right here. So you can just copy the color code from here and then come over to 2. And then right here, you can just paste this. So click on paste, okay. And now if you go back to 1 and change the opacity to 0, you will get this outline. So this is the one at 2. You can just keep this at outline. If you want to, that's up to you, not necessary, but this is how we're going to create the outline. Now, once we have this done, we now need to animate this solid color that we just changed the opacity for at 0. So the way that we're going to do that is if you go over to 0th frame right here, click on this keyframe for opacity and keep this at 0 for now. Then go over to the 5th frame right here and create another keyframe. So keep this at 0 as well. But just move 1 frame ahead at 6, change the opacity to 0, then go all the way to 9, create another keyframe, keep this at 1, and now at 10, we're going to change this back to 0. And then go over at 20 and create another keyframe because we're going to keep this at 0 up till 20 frames. So if you play this right now, this is how it will look. Now go over to spline and from here, just click on this opacity and select your keyframes right here. Now click on this set loop. So if you click on this, and now if you play this, you will notice that this will keep on coming in, going out, this solid color that we had. So the opacity is what's going on right here. So we have this opacity effect that you can call. But the thing is that you can also try something else. So the delay that we added by going over at 20 and creating a keyframe, you could have done that at 15. You could have even extended it even more. So that depends on the kind of effect that you want. And even if you don't do that, if you remove the keyframe from 20 and just start the loop from 10, it will just have a rapid speed of changing this. So this opacity change or the opacity effect that you see right here, this would be rapid. So it depends on the kind of rapidness or the quickness that you need in your animation. You can set it according to that. And this is the way to do that by going over to spline and setting the keyframes. All right. So now once we have this done, what we need to do is we need to create 3 more of these. So we can just simply copy this, Control C, and unselect, Control V. So we have the second copy. Let's rename this to text 2. And if we connect this right here with the merge one, and if we drag this, actually, let's create another copy before we drag this down. So right here, I'm going to add this one. Let's call this text 3. Connect this right here with the merge. And there we go. All right, so right click on your screen, go over to guides, and you can click on show guides so that we can align this more properly. So click on text 1. Let's move this up So make sure you only use the Y to move this up somewhere around here. And let's go over to text 3 and move this down somewhere around here. All right. So if we play this right now, you will notice that all of these are using that opacity effect, or the opacity effect is coming in at the same time for each of them, but we need to offset it. So the way that we can do that is by going over to keyframes, and right here we need to make sure which node that we are selecting. So right now you will see that we have this. Let me just move this up so you can see right here text 1, text 2, text 3. So for the text 1 we're just going to start at 0, but for the text 2 make sure you click on this node text 2, and then right here you need to click on this, and then go right here, zoom to fit, click on this, and let's go right here at 5 frames. So right here at 5 frames we're going to move this forward. So let's just move this forward, and you can see that right here that we just moved it forward, and now this is going to start from the 5th frame. So if you play this, here you will see we have that delay. Now let's do the same thing for text 3, and this time we're going to move this at 10. So let's do that. Let's go over to text 3 and select all of these, move these forward at 10. So right here we have this done, and now if we see all of this together, here you will notice that we have this effect going on one by one, and because of the offset that we just created. So this is how you can create this keyframe for one text and then just copy it and add as many text as you want with this opacity effect, as you can see, and then you can offset it. So right now I'm just using 3 different text, but of course feel free to use 4 text, 5 text, that's up to you. You can even use 1 text if you want, but this is something that looks good. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is, let me just move them down. We're going to add another multi-merge. So while you have this multi-merge selected, click on this multi-merge right here. And we're going to use this now for the next animation that we're going to create, which is just going to be the lines. So we're just going to create simple lines. And for that, we can just drag in a background, and let's go ahead, change the color a little bit. Keep it at dark, but it's up to you which color you want. And now let's go ahead and select in this polygon. Make sure to unselect this keyframe right here. Connect this polygon with the background, and the background, let's connect this with the multi-merge. Now, while you have this polygon selected, let's zoom in right here, and we're going to create lines. So you can press shift on the keyboard and move along while creating your lines. So something like this, but of course you'll feel free to create any sort of line that you want. But this is the one that I'm going with. And now let's go over to the border width, change this to 0.001, and you will see we get a line like this. Now, of course, you can increase it. So let me just go and try 0.002. So this looks much better. And from here, you can select this flat. So make sure you select this flat. And now we can animate this. So right here at 0, make sure you are at polygon 1. Create a keyframe at length and also at position. Now let's go all the way to 30. And let's go ahead and create a keyframe at length, and now change the position to 1. Now right here at 0, change the length to 0. So if we play this now, you will notice this is how it looks. Now if you want, you can increase the speed by going over to, let's say, 20 frames and ending the animation right here that we just created at 30. You can move this back by going over to frames, keyframes right here. And let me just show you, if you want to move this back. So let's go ahead and select this, select your polygon right here. And right here we have these keyframes. So this one right here that we had about this length and position, let's select both of these right here from the end. And let's go over at 20 and move them back at 20. So if you play this, you'll see this is how it looks now. Of course, if you want, you can move this even further back. That's up to you. But once you're satisfied with where you want this to be, you can go over to spline just like we did before. And right now, let me just unselect these texts. Only select the polygon with the position and the length. And what you need to do is just select this. And also one more thing you need to do is go right here at let's say 40, because we also want to add a delay just like we wanted with the text above the opacity. For the opacity, we did the same thing. We added a delay. Otherwise, it would just be a rapid speed movement. So we want to add a delay. So let's go over at 40 and just create keyframes at position and length once again. So this will just add a delay. And of course, you feel free to experiment if you want, but this is the one that I'm going with. And once we have that, let's go ahead, select our keyframes right here, and then click on set loop. So right here, if we play this now, you will notice that this line is looping again and again, and this will continue throughout that composition. So once we have this done, we can create a copy for this. So you can press Control C and unselect, and now Control V to paste it. And now let's call this polygon 2. And now we can connect this right here. And now let's zoom out and move this position. So you can use this position from Y right here and X right here to move this. And now if we play this, you will see we have this sort of an animation, one right here and one right here for these lines. Now, one more thing is we can also add the delay or the offset that we had for the text. So for example, the same thing that we did, this is happening one by one for the text, the opacity thing, the opacity animation. So we can do the same thing for this polygon as well. We can offset it. So let's go over to keyframes, and right here, make sure you select this polygon 2. So this is the polygon 2 right here. And let's go ahead, select this polygon 2. So right here at 10, let's go ahead, add in a delay at 10. So let's start this from 10. All right. So now if you play this, you will see a delay right here. And of course, feel free to experiment. If you want to add more delay, more offset, you can do that, but that's up to you. You can even add more lines if you want to, but these are the two ones that I'm going with. All right, so for the next thing, let's go ahead, make sure your multi-merge is selected. Click on another multi-merge, and from here, we're going to add in some shapes right here. So for this shape, we're going to select a triangle shape. So for that, just press Control Space and search for S star. So right here, we have this S star node. And for this one, we also need S merge. So once again, press Control Space, search for S merge. And also for this merge, we then need the S render. So let's press Control Space once again and search for S render. So right here we have the render node, and we need to now connect this with the multi-merge. So once we do that, now we have this shape visible. So let's click on this star node, and we need to change the points. So let's go ahead and change this to 3. So this will give us a triangle shape. And now we need to decrease the size of this. So you can right click on width, click on expression, and then connect this with the height. And now you can change the height so that both these will reduce, or the size will reduce. And let's go over to style, and from here we can change it. So let's go somewhere around here. And now let's move this right here. And from here we can change the angle. So let's change this to 90. So this is how it looks. Let me just align this. All right, so we have this one done. Let's go ahead and create another copy. So I'm going to click on this, press Control C to copy, and then unselect, and then Control V to paste. And then right here, I'm going to connect this with the merge. We can just call this star 2. And now let's move this up right here. And you can change the angle from here. Let's change this to 270. And let me just align this. So there you go. Now let's go ahead and add in some dots, and we're going to animate those dots as well. So for that, we can drag in this text and connect this with the multi-merge. And from here, you can just add in some full stops. So let me just do that real quick. And from here, you can change this if you want to. That's up to you, but you can keep it at default for now. And now let's go ahead and change the color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this big screen color. And from here, I'm going to just select this one, the same as the triangles that we have. And now what we can do is we can go over to layout. And also one thing, let me just zoom out. All right, so now let's go ahead and change the type from point all the way to path. And let's go ahead and create this sort of a shape. So make sure the shift is selected while you're doing this. And here we have a shape. Now let's go ahead and make sure all of this line is populated with these dots. So keep on adding all these dots until you have this covered. So right here, this is where it stops. Now, one thing you will notice is that this is not on the line. So what we can do is go over to layout and once again use this X to position this properly. So somewhere around here, and this is how it looks. But now one thing you will notice is that this is right here, this is appearing. We don't want that. So for this, we can drag in this rectangle and connect this with the text 4. So right here, let me just position it right at this side, change the height a little bit. And you can also change the soft edge a little bit. All right, so one other thing is go over to text and from here go over to 0 frames, create a keyframe at this position on path and then go all the way to the end and change this to 1. So now if we play this, you will notice that we have this animation for these dots as well. So right here, one thing you will notice is this one, this is not looking good. So for this, what we can do is we can just remove one dot right here, go over to tracking, and you can just simply adjust this a little bit. So let's see how this looks. So now this looks good right here. All right, so now you can go ahead and fill in the whole scene with other shapes, other text as well. So right now I'm just going to add in a S polygon. So you can press Control Space and search for S polygon. And here we have this S polygon. So let's unselect this right here, connect this with the merge. And over here we can just draw in a shape. So let me do that real quick. All right, so here we have our shape done. Let's go over to style and we can just use this dropper to get the same color as this one. Let me just go ahead and reduce this, something like this. And then right here, I'm going to add a rectangle. So for that, let's go ahead and search for S rectangle. And let's go ahead and connect this right here with the merge. So what I'm going to do is unselect the solid and let's change the border width to 0.001. Let's also change the width and move this right here. All right, so I already have some settings for it. Let me just paste it. So these are the settings that I'm going with. The color is of course the same as these ones right here. You can just copy it. And in the control, I have this border width at 0.001. Position length will be same. X and Y offset is just because I moved it right here. And then we have this width and height. You can just copy the settings right here. What we can do now is fill this shape with some text. So right now, if we zoom in, this is how it looks. So I'm just going to add in some text right here. I already have some text done. You can, of course, do this on your own. You can use the same font that I have right here, Magneto. And of course, it's up to you. You can use different fonts. You can use different styles of text. That's up to you. So I'm just going to quickly do that. All right, so here I have this text done. And you can, of course, do that on your own. That's up to you. Like I said, it's not a hard rule that you have to follow. This is up to you. And we're not going to do any animation for this, but of course you can if you want to. Right now, I'm not going to do any animation for it. And let me add in one more right here. So you can do that. So for example, right here, I have this text right here. So this is up to you. You can play around with this. You can add more text if you want to. It totally depends on you. Okay, one final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some boxes right here. So let's go ahead and select this multi-merge and add in another one. Add in another multi-merge. And right here, I'm going to add in this background, and I'm going to use this same color right here. And let's go ahead and add in this rectangle, connect this with the background and background with the multi-merge. Now, right here at the rectangle, what we need to do is we need to change the width and the height first. So let's change the width to 0.02 and this one to 0.04. So right here you can see we have this. Let's move this up. And I'm just going to align it right here with this one like this. And you can unselect the solid and let's go with border width 0.001. And here you can see this is how it looks. And let's just move this slightly right here. So here we have this box done. And now what we can do is we can animate this just like we did the text. So let me just show you. Click on this rectangle, go over at 0 and create a keyframe at this solid. So click on this because this is unselected right now. But right here at, let's say, 5 frames or the fifth frame, let's go ahead and create another keyframe. Let's go 1 frame ahead at 6. Select the solid, go 1 frame ahead. Actually, let's go 2 frames ahead and let's create another keyframe at solid. And then at 9, let's go ahead and change this back to, actually, let me just unselect this previous one. Let's unselect the previous one, undo the previous one by Control Z. So right here we have this at 6. So let's go over at 9. Create a keyframe at the solid and then go over at 10 and let's unselect this once again. And then let's go over at 20 and then make sure that this is at unselected and create a keyframe. So the same thing that we did for the text, we're doing it for this box. So right here, you will notice we have that same thing that we had before. And now what we can do is we can copy this, Control C, unselect, Control V to paste it. Then we can select this right here. And what we can do is just move this right here. And now this will happen together. So let's just add a few more. Let's go ahead and add in this one right here. Move this right here. And once more, let's connect this right here and move this right here. So right now you will notice that this is moving together or this is changing just like it was happening for the text. So we need to offset it. So let's go over to this one, the second one right here. And let's go over to keyframes. Make sure you have this selected. So this is the one. And let's go over at, this time let's go over at 5. Just like we did before, we're going to just do the same thing for these shapes now. So let's do that right here. All right. Now let's do the same thing for this one. Let's go over at 10. Move them at the front. And finally for this one, let's go over at 15. Select them and move them at 15. All right. So now if we play the whole thing, this is how it looks. But now one more thing I forgot to do was going over to spline. And then right here, we had to do this for all of these. So since I didn't do it for the first one before copying, we now need to do this for all of them. So make sure you have all of these selected. So we need rectangle 2, 2 underscore 1, 2 underscore 2, and 2 underscore 3. So let's select all of them. Select all of them and then click on this set loop. So right here, if we play this now, you will notice this is how it looks. So the same thing that was happening for the text is now happening for these shapes. So here you can see our whole scene is done. All right, so once you have this done, you can go over to the main timeline. And from here, you will notice this is how it looks. But now you can add in any image that you want on top of it. So I would just recommend using any AI generated image that you can find and just put this on top right here. And if you play this, you will see this is how it looks. You can, of course, resize it as well. You can move this around as well. So that's up to you. And one more thing you can do is go over to dynamic zoom, click on it, enable it, and then click on swap to get a zoom in effect. So right here, this is how it looks. So this was it for this video. I hope you found this video useful, and I will see you in the next one.